Hey guys, how you doing? This is Joe from Reconstruction Life. I just had a buyer come by and talk to me about this house, and so I thought it would be a good time for us to discuss with you what are the things that you probably want to know and need to think about when you're buying a house from an investor. All right, here we go. Quick 5-minute tour here of what we're doing around the house. The bedroom, this bedroom downstairs is probably pretty much already finished. Got a little bit of supplies in here. Still staging a bunch of things in there. Laundry room, just lots of stuff. This room downstairs is pretty much good. Doors need to go on still, obviously. We're prepping the downstairs, putting tile in. I got gray grout. So I was gonna put white grout in here on this dark tile. And the old man was like, "Oh, nobody's gonna want white grout. It's gonna get so dirty."
Yeah, white grout. Oh.
All right, so we got gray grout. Anyway, carpets in, all downstairs. Obviously, we still need to paint and stuff down here. House is supposed to be done 2 days ago, which didn't happen, but that's okay. Just chopping stuff up down here. But we're on time to be able to be done 3 days, I think. 4 days maybe. Upstairs, Korbin's finished everything. No, not yet. Still haven't finished the flooring in here. Flooring's the last thing, so no big deal.
I want to do.
Still have to finish that hole up there. I started installing the light in here today. Works. So I didn't put the fan in yet because that needs to be secured in the ceiling a little bit better. So the blades are just hanging out here, right there. But we haven't painted upstairs yet. Downstairs we painted the rooms.
Painted the ceiling. Like
Korbin did the ceilings, painted the ceilings. They look, not the bathroom ceiling, but these ceilings. Tiles in.
Haven't
this
cleaned
bathroom.
it yet, but it's nice.
And I got the new grout.
Yes. Where is that?
Over there.
How did you get? Non-sanded. Good.
Yes, this one.
Okay,
Find
and
the
you
black
got,
handle?
hey, and you got... I couldn't find the black handled one. I found red ones though. I've been using that red one for the both bathrooms. So
What's that?
I've been using the red one.
Yeah, I'd rather have the black one.
And then I got a new one of these.
Yay!
Because yours stinks.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
And bedroom, we're not quite done. I am putting in this fan today. And then the bathroom is tiled. Korbin just finished the top of that today, so that's all done. And then we should start grounding here in a second. Anyway, so let's do a little bit of talk. Let me find a place where we can do this discussion real quick. Hang on. All right. So things you want to think about when you're buying from an investor. So I get this every now and then. I run into people who have never bought a house before, so I just have to very kind of quickly run through with them what are the steps and procedures that they need to know to basically be a first-time home buyer, but also the advantages of working directly with a, whoa, now I got some serious light in my face. Anyway, so some things just in particular for first-time home buyers, but also some of the particulars when you're buying from an investor that can be advantageous for you when you're engaging in a transaction with them. So a couple of things that I run through with people first if they're a first-time home buyer. So what I typically see is that people will come to the house that they want first by finding out how much house they can buy. So recommendations for first-time home buyers, find out how much you can buy, how much house you can buy. So that means going and talking to a loan officer. And when I recommend people for loan officers, I typically recommend you use somebody local, a local bank that knows and serves your community, because they're just going to have a much better way of going through the transaction than going through a nationwide bank and trying to get some huge multi-state corporation that's going to be running basically this whole deal from the lending side. So advice is to go find a local lender, and if you know people in the area, just find out who they used, because they're going to be very closely tied to the community, and that's going to help because they know what the requirements are as far as the inspections are concerned and appraisals and things like that. They're just going to have a lot more connections and resources than these national institutions will. So I typically run them to a loan officer that I've used regularly. You're going to want to go in there with your proof of income, your some tax statements that you have, and they may want some other things. And they're basically going to do, they give you two options when you're buying a house. First is they'll give you a pre-qualification letter, and that basically says they're going to take your word for what you say to the loan officer, and they're going to give you a letter that says you're approved for a certain amount based on the information that you gave us, and you give that to the seller. Now, the other option, second option, is a pre-approval letter, which basically says, I want you to run my credit and approve me for a certain amount of loan based on the information that I told you. So now they do the full running your credit and using the information that you gave them to come with a pre-approval letter. Now this is important because when you're talking to a seller, they're going to want to be measuring the value of different offers, and a pre-approval letter is much stronger than a pre-qualification letter. The strongest offer obviously being cash, if you have proof of funds for cash. So get your lending situation squared away. And then if you're talking directly to an investor and you're a principal, which basically means you're a buyer talking to a seller and you're not using an agent, then you're a principal. That has a huge difference on the transaction, because all of those middlemen that you use when you're going with your home straight to the market, you can cut through all of that stuff. So what I was telling the buyer today is that by coming straight to us, you're basically giving us the opportunity to cut out all of that other cost that we were going to incur by using a real estate agent, getting stagers and things like that, which were costs that we were going to have to bear that we factor into our price. And so we can come down on the price because you're just coming straight to us. So that's a benefit for them. The other benefit being that if we're in the stages where we're still getting things done, they could potentially go under contract with us and get very specific tailored things that they want to this home. I mean, right now at this point, I pretty much bought all the supplies that I want for the home. It's already here, it's already on site. But like one example was that this buyer said she wanted hardwood flooring throughout the first floor. And we were just planning on keeping carpet in the living room and both of the bedrooms. And I said, okay, great. Well, hang on a second. Sorry, Grandpa was just like screaming for Korbin. So what it means is that, so she wants hardwood flooring throughout the first floor. I said, okay, well, so I would put that in the offer. So I went through the contract, the submitting of an offer contract, and explained to her, this is what I would say. Put in a price, put in your closing date, and any specific request that you have. So if it's, I want hardwood flooring throughout the first floor, then write that in there. And if we come to terms and come to agreement, then that will be part of what we complete. So you're kind of getting specific things that you want. It may be a paint color, it may be a particular backsplash, it may be a particular appliance, it could be anything. Honestly, the sooner that you get into a deal with an investor, the better off it's going to be, where you can get a specifically tailored type of product. It's almost like getting a custom home by getting into the process early. So most investors that I know, and like us included, will put a sign out in front of the house that says, you know, this house being returned to the community soon, under construction, under renovation, or whatever it is. But we put a sign out there so that people know and they see that something is happening on this house. But absolutely come by and talk to them and find out what they're doing, where they're at. And if you are interested in buying it, then you can totally have an effect and an impact on the actual final product that you get, instead of just going to the market and just seeing whatever is already out there and then trying to work from there. So there's some serious advantages in that regard. And the last thing that is really good about working with an investor and things that you need to know is obviously with regard to the price. So typically an investor, and if they're turning it back over to a real estate agent, they have a percentage that they have agreed to with the agent, and then they may have some other staging costs and things like that, like we were going to incur on this project. And so I told them, I said, well, listen, I can cut out a lot of those costs if you just work directly with me, and so that can affect the price. So if it goes to market, it's going to go at a certain price, but if you work with me right now, then we don't have to take it to market, and I don't have to incur all those costs. So a lower price to you, and less costs also for me, so it works out. So those are some of the things. But yeah, I mean, working with an investor, it's not a big deal. It's not like a problem. Most investors like us, we have contracts that we can use, and I'd be happy to go over those contracts with you and explain it to you. If you have your own lawyer, then by all means, absolutely, go ahead and use your lawyer, have that contract reviewed. I mean, we use our lawyers to to review all of our contracts, but I know not everybody has a lawyer that can do that. But if you need one, or you want to find out how you can get one, just send me a message, and I'll be happy to share with you how we do that. It's very affordable. But you can get that reviewed so you can make sure that you understand everything that's in there. And then I just basically explained to her how the process works after the offer is in. We're going to go into a purchase and sale agreement. She's going to have an inspection that's going to be done, which I highly recommend. You get a third party that just comes in and looks through the whole house to make sure that everything is up to snuff, and if there are any issues, we can correct that prior to closing. But for sure, it's a really, really good benefit, both from a buyer side and from a seller side, by just working directly from an investor and with a buyer and a seller. So anyway, those are just some of the tips and things that I thought would be valuable and maybe helpful for you if you ever are out there and about and you see someone that's fixing up a house. Then just go ahead and talk to them and see what they're doing, and if you're interested in maybe buying that house, then let them know. And you could have a significant impact on what that final product is, and you may end up getting something that you really enjoy. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and glad we had a chance to put this video together for you. I got to get back to working on this project because it's supposed to be done by Tuesday. So we have about 3 days to get it all done, but we will get it done. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.